Welcome back to Grindhouse Chic, starring Robert Schneider. And as always, I am joined by my co-host, the Andy Richter to my Conan, the Ed McMahon to my Johnny, Matt Armstrong. Brian Baldwin is currently on a special assignment. He is hiding out in the Grindhouse video store, digging a hole between there and his house. We're not going to say what for, but we're going to say he's currently doing it Shawshank style.
Yeah, just a spoon and a pants full of dirt.
And Matt, I don't know if you know this. I renegotiated my contract with the show. That's why you haven't been on lately. I've been going through contract negotiations, and I am now the star.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm when I saw that Vince McMahon was able to return to the WWE and become the boss, that inspired me to become the boss.
Yeah, what happened with that? He sold it and was ousted, and then he just
no. He paid off women that he was having sex with, women who weren't his wife, and using the company to pay them off, Trump style.
Ooh, yeah, but no, I thought I heard some rumor that he sold it to like some Saudi Arabian company.
No. He sold it to UFC's parent company, Endeavor. So now there is a new company with a merger of UFC and WWE. And I'm just going to tell you, I think this is the beginning of the end of that company. Because back in the day when World Championship Wrestling was sold from the Crockett family to Turner, that was fine. But then when Warner Brothers bought Turner, the product got worse. Actually, during some time where Time Warner bought it, when Turner bought it, he had some people in there who did not know what they were doing. But that's either here nor there. People do not come to the show to listen to us talk about wrestling. They come to us to talk about movies. And as we record this, the Kino sale started. And Matt, how many movies are in your cart?
I haven't had a big chance to go through it yet. I've only got like 4 in there, I think. But I'll probably get all those.
What do you have in your cart so far?
I'm bringing it up here. I know there's 2 4Ks in it that I was waiting to hit for them to go on sale. I think one is like Killing Kiss.
Okay.
Killer's Kiss. 4K, The Death Wish 4K. A movie called 21 Hours at Munich.
Okay.
It's got Franco Nero looking like a straight up pimp in it with a white pretty much just pimp's hat. He's got some sideburns and a long mustache, so that looks pretty cool.
Much better than him playing a ninja.
Yes. And then I've got this old one in here that I had heard about a long time ago called 13 Washington Square.
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, I heard that it's like it's like a mystery kind of thing, but I heard that it's also like there's some countries in Europe where it's a big like New Year's movie or something.
That's cool.
Go there watch it every year.
That's cool.
That's it so far.
This is the first year that I've participated in it. And I wasn't going to, but then I got paid pretty well from a comedy show on Friday night. So I said, you know what the fuck? I'll do this. And I originally had 5 in my thing. I bought Grace of My Heart, Guyana Cult of the Damned, a Cardona film. So I'm looking forward to that. The Jim Carrey biopic about Andy Kaufman, Man on the Moon, the Elliot Gould Robert Blake cop film Busting, the made-for-TV movie directed by Tobe Hooper, I'm Dangerous Tonight. And then I was in a quandary. Because I would have had to pay $12 for shipping. So I decided to add one more movie to my list, and that was Silent Scream.
Nice.
Yeah.
You didn't get the Chris Elliott classic Cabin Boy?
I bought that when it came out.
Okay.
You know that one's going out of print.
I have it. I just
Yeah, yeah.
Thought it'd be right up your alley.
I'm a huge fan of Chris Elliott in the show Get a Life, and
Mm.
this was pretty much just Get a Life on a boat
Hmm.
with a merman.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what do you think of the new Severin announcements?
I don't know anything about those. I saw you were pretty excited about them, but
I've only seen one of them. I've only seen the British the comic strip presents.
okay, that's the
Uh,
bad news one.
Bad News is part of it, but
Oh.
I can't say enough good things about that show. So back in the day, MTV used to show the Young Ones and the British comic strip back together. For some reason, I think they retitled the British comic strip on MTV. I don't remember if that's true or not, but in my head it is. And I think they only showed the first season of it on there, which was like 5 episodes, maybe some of the second season. And compared to the Young Ones at the time, I hated it. I thought it was just boring bullshit. I didn't realize that these were spoofs of other movies at the time, like
Hmm.
Fistful of Travelers Checks, spoof with Fistful of Dollars. Fun fact though, Bad News came out before Spinal Tap,
Really?
but
Is
a
it
year before.
is it similar?
Yeah, it follows a fictional band on tour. Uh,
Nice.
um, so um, in my during my between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I got to go study at Oxford for a summer, and one other girl from my school was and got to go, and so did this guy she ended up hooking up with named Steve. And one night we all went into London for the weekend, just for a Friday night in London that turned out to be Friday into way in the afternoon on Saturday. Um, so again, I think I just turned 19 at the time. I just did turn 19, and like a few days before, for a few days or a few weeks before that. So we're in London. We're at this punk bar. I am desperately trying to make out with this pink haired chick. It didn't happen, but this one guy Sally was flirting with, and we went back to his place to crash. I think he thought he was going to be hooking up with Sally. Instead, Steve and Sally took over his room,
Oh.
leaving him and I to have to sit there awkwardly with neither one of us wanting to talk with each other.
I
But
would have just left.
I think the trains were done. No, the buses stopped because
Uh,
there was no train from, and I didn't know where I was. So he just started pulling out videos that we started watching, like episodes of Doctor Who, the young ones. And then he goes, "Have you ever seen Bad News?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen Bad News." He goes, "Have you ever seen the sequel?" I was more Bad News. I'm like, "What? They made a sequel?" And it wasn't as funny as the original, but it was still pretty funny. And then several years later, I picked up, well, not several years later, decades later, I picked up the comic strip DVD set, which I did say I was going to get rid of, but there are more episodes on that than there are on the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is only 3 of the seasons and a couple of the movies, the longer episodes. Anything that aired on Channel 4, and the DVD set has some of the BBC stuff as well. So
hmm,
hopefully there'll be a volume 2. So I mean, this show holds a special place in my heart. It's If you're a film lover, you'll love the spoofs. If you like British comedy, you'll love the comedy. It's just I think it's already a contention for release of the year.
nice.
I've never seen the other 2 movies.
I have heard people really excited about this extraterrestrial visitors. Um,
The trailer looks hilarious.
yeah. The what's the thing called? Trumpy? The yeah, Trumpy. So I think this is a ripoff of ET and the other one's a ripoff of Aliens, right?
I
The
think
Alien
it's
from the Abyss.
I think it's like more I don't know. What year was that made?
Alien from the Abyss is. Oh, they don't have it on here. Shame on Severin. Let's see. Doesn't come up on Letterbox. So it's got to have some other weird name. Director Eduardo Margariti. Let's check him.
Marguerite. Tarantino loves Marguerite
Does he?
or Margaretti.
Yeah, that's probably
It was one of the characters' aliases in what's the name of the movie? The Bastards film.
Inglorious
Inglorious
Bastards.
Bastards. Yeah, I don't know how that escaped me.
Yeah, I'm not seeing this movie on his letterbox here. I don't know.
Hold on.
Did they get this wrong? Antonio Margariti. Oh, I'm looking up Eduardo Margar. Hold up, hold up. There's two.
It's under the name on IMDb is Alien from the Deep.
Oh, apparently Eduardo is the son. The Antonio is the actual director.
So I think this looks more like a mixture of The Abyss and Alien.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a ripoff of some sort.
Well, The Abyss came out in '89, and so did this. They might have just heard the title and let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They might be good. I do like Severin's pricing on their bundles.
Yeah, I bought the bundle because the trailer looked good for the other two, and it just made sense. I haven't placed an
Mm,
order with them in a while. I'm going to see if David Gregory wants to do an interview on this show.
nice.
So
Did you get just the movies or did you make sure
I
to get the I'm a Virgin shirt?
I just got the movies.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to wear a shirt because saying I'm a virgin because everyone knows that's not true. Just ask your mom.
Oh. I was gonna get the whole bundle, but man, I cannot pull off a V-neck.
No one can. No one can. Except for maybe Brian Baldwin as he's digging profusely. I hope it doesn't cave in for him.
Yeah, you just got to get deep enough.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen him in weeks or heard from him. We just got a text that said, Easter miracle, I'm in. What have you watched recently?
I feel like I've watched a couple things. Let me check here. I guess the one I was sort of complaining to you about a little bit. I don't know if we talked about it since, but that Shaolin Invincibles.
I love that movie.
Yeah, there was a lot, and I there was a lot that I liked in it, but for some reason, I just like I think I told you it took me like 7 tries to get through it. I don't know if I was starting it too late at night or what, but it just seemed so hard to get through.
It took me one. I mean, I watched it in the morning, early afternoon, like the day I got it, and I think that's the best time when like really bad kung fu movies should be shown.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched both of them. I love both of them. Was this my favorite AGFA release of the year? No, no. But it was so much fun watching the 20 minutes of trailers beforehand than watching the movies. It just felt like a good old double feature.
Yeah. Yeah, and there were a couple shots in it that looked really, really cool, but I don't know. I don't know what it was.
It was it because it looked so rough?
No, I didn't mind that. I don't know if there was just I don't know, too much like filler kind of in between the because I was waiting for those gorillas to really throw down this whole time. That was the maybe that was my mistake.
Like you got to remember this was a Taiwanese production, so compared to all the Hong Kong ones, the budget was less,
Yeah.
but it was just weird as fuck. Just
Yeah.
watching it felt so close to a video game
Mm-hmm.
years before video games were a thing, or modern video, because there was the boss level, and it just I just had so much fun with it. Is it a movie I can show
Mm.
people? I would love to, but the burned on subtitles
Yeah.
are hard to read.
That I think that was my main gripe with it is, and they're white subtitles. So if it's there were times when they were showing them against like a just a daylight sky, and you couldn't see words on there.
Yeah, no, it was, but here's the thing: you really don't need to pay much attention to the plot. It's kind of like porn, where talk, fight instead of talk, fuck.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that one. I of course watched the City of the Living Dead 4K and the Martin
Hmm.
4K. Both are amazing releases.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check those out yet.
Yeah, I canceled a comedy show I was supposed to go to when I got Martin in, so I could just watch it.
I had a friend over um the day that I got both of those in, and he saw City of the Living Dead, and he was like, "Oh man, I love that movie." That was the friend I was telling you about that I was trying to think about which of those two movies to make him watch. We ended up watching Frostbiter.
That's a good movie. If you're a fan of the Stooges.
He liked it, but um he said the music kept taking him out of it. He just kept saying like these some of these songs are pretty good, but he was like, "There's no point in the movie where the music goes with what's happening." I mean, other than Chili, obviously.
No, the two different versions of Chili, one that was almost a Prince ripoff, and I can't
Uh-huh.
remember what the other one is a ripoff of.
Yeah.
But I'm really surprised Chili's never used that in one of their commercials. Um, but yeah, I mean, this has been, as I told you, I'm now thinking about getting a whatchamacallit, a region free player so I can watch Dance Craze.
Hmm.
But
Do
I've
it.
been spending a lot of time watching the second season of Doctor Who from 59 years ago,
Hmm.
because I've never really seen much of the first Doctor. Man, it's kind of bad, but it's interesting to where the show started to where it is today.
I have never seen anything about any of that. I know there's like a phone booth.
A police box, the
Yeah.
TARDIS. Um, let's see. I also watched Tetris on Apple TV Plus.
Hmm. How was that?
I never thought of the movie behind the game was more interesting than the game. I don't know how much of it was true, but I really enjoyed that. And
Wasn't
then
it like a I haven't seen the movie yet, but I feel like I remember them saying like Tetris was like something to do with like communism or something.
no,
That
not according to the movie.
yeah.
In
Yeah, I'm thinking
fact,
of something
according to
else.
the movie, Tetris helped bring down communism.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
um, I did watch some other good stuff though. I watched Breathless from Fun City Editions, the final part-time release, partner label release.
Hmm.
I also watched Party Girl, the first non-partner label release. And then I went and rewatched Married to the Mob. I've seen it before, but I never opened the Fun City one.
Hmm.
That movie might have just become one of my favorite films ever.
Nice.
And then I will rewatch the Coca-Cola Kid. But let's get to our Conquering Our Collections pick.
You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
I'm just going to preface this with I have no reason why. I have just never seen this before. Okay.
Okay.
um, and it happened to fall into my to meet the criteria kind of because my collection is so unorganized and everything. But I remember that I had this on Blu-ray, um, put it in and watched it, and then I was like, you know what? I think I just recently got this on 4K, and I searched through everything and found it, and I was like, man, I wish I would have watched that on 4K instead. But I watched John Carpenter's 1980 classic, The Fog.
I'm going to
Go
tell you
ahead, say
something.
it. Go
I
ahead,
own
say it.
it. I've owned it, but I've never watched that one.
Oh, like you've never seen it, period?
I've never seen. I might have seen it, like parts of it on TV,
Mm,
but no, I have never seen it. And I was actually going to pull that one up for a recent conquering my collection.
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it was really good. I'm sure everyone knows the plot other than
I,
us, but basically, there's a small town where um, the aptly named fog starts rolling in, and starts off with killing a little boat full of like four guys, three guys maybe, um, and then just disappears. And then it kind of turns into like a mystery of, what happened to these guys. It looks like they have been underwater for years, but they just went out on the water like yesterday. So it goes through everything. It comes to find out that I won't give everything away for you since you haven't seen it yet, but um, it comes to find out that like 100 years ago, a pirate rolled into town and was trying to cook up a deal with the local pastor to make like another little city for the pirates to stay. And the pastor stole their money and killed them all. So they came back 100 years later to um, apparently kill six people to make up for their six people that were killed. And they
oh,
travel through the fog.
that makes no sense at all.
Yeah, so I was really confused at first because it's stupid on me. I have seen the newer The Mist, and for some reason I was thinking that that was a remake of this, and I was like, wow, man, they really changed things.
No, the Mist
Uh,
was a Stephen King story.
yeah.
There was the fog with TV Smallville's Tom Welling.
Hmm. Yeah, but I was watching this, and I was like, man, how are they going to get to what happened in the other one? But completely
You are
different movie.
you do not do your research, do you?
No, I didn't look up anything about it before I watched it, but I gotta say, it's got Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins, Hal Holbrook, Janet Leigh, and
Adrian Barbeau.
Adrienne Barbeau. And man, I gotta say, the weirdest thing about this movie is seeing Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Atkins in a relationship in it. She's got to be like a third his age.
Eh, it was the 70s.
Yeah, but yeah, really good. I think I'm going to revisit the 4K just to see if it looks a lot better, but
So
good movie.
you have that on Blu-ray.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask something, and then I'll get to my picks. Do you find it necessary to always upgrade?
Um, I think more so on older movies.
I don't know, man. It's a slippery slope. Like I went to Best Buy yesterday, and I saw the Dawn of the Dead 4K, the remake. And I'm
Hmm.
like, man, I just watched the Blu-ray. It looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, my player upscale stuff, and I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean, if they do a new 4K scan and everything, then it does usually have a noticeable difference, but um it's really only, I think, worth it on these old shot on film movies. It's especially with Scream Factory for me. We've talked about it before, but I think I'm done getting their, super ultra limited releases. I think I'm just gonna I'll get their 4Ks they put out of horror movies, and that's it.
well, I mean, I gotta be honest. That's how I feel about the new Arrow video store video video store Empire.
Hmm.
because I have a lot of those films on Blu-ray when Scream Factory released them,
Right.
and I've seen it down to $69. I think if it maybe gets to $50, I'll pick it up. But I don't know. These films aren't that great.
Yeah. Is that 4 or 5 movies? Is it
I think
five?
it's 6.
Okay. I mean, pretty good deal
It is.
if you don't have them yet.
I mean, like the movie The Dungeon Master. It's a good watch. Like it took me almost a decade to open my Blu-ray of it, but
Yeah.
I thought it was meh. That was okay. It wasn't spectacular. And I mean, when you see Empire Films, which is basically just the previous version of Full Moon, you know what you're getting. You're getting something maybe just a level above crap.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I think I'm with you. If it goes down cheaper, I may grab it. The one movie, Robo Jocks or Robot Jocks or whatever it is pretty hard to find for less than $50. So that's kind of worth it there.
I don't think now I'll be fair, honest. I've never seen that movie. At least I don't think I have, and I don't know if I would pay $15 for it.
Pretty good.
So you've seen it.
Yeah.
I'd much rather buy more Italian films. All right. So I have two conquering my collections.
Okay.
The first one was released a couple of years ago from Severin's Intervision label. Um, the Mark Savage directed The Masturbating Gunman.
I've heard of that.
It was the last one from that from that summer sale, the Armageddon sale that I picked up and that I decided to watch. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't interested in it. It just looked really stupid. And I'm not the biggest Mark Savage fan. When I back in my DVD heyday, the fine guys at Thomas Video said, if you like fucked up stuff, you need to get Savage Cinema. And I watched Savage Cinema and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up, but it's also really boring.
Okay.
And then I watched The Masturbating Gun. This film was so fucking but I loved every second of it. Now, he's called the masturbating gunman because whenever he sees a woman, he has to masturbate. He's also so freaking violent. Like he'll reach into someone's stomach and pull out their testicles and then strangle somebody with it.
Nice.
It's just ridiculous. All right. So the plot of the movie is this guy who's just released from prison, who's around 50 years old, I think, also a virgin. And he wants to have sex with a virgin so he could be the father of the new Messiah.
Okay.
So they kidnap a nun who happens to be the masturbating gunman's sister. And so I am skipping something. The masturbating gunman is like people hire him, like husbands hire him to find wives. So they have to bring him a pair of their used panties. He sniffs it, and that's how he goes. He can figure out where they are. So he had to sniff a pair of his sister's panties and go on this mission where everybody is trying to kill him. All right. I'm going to spoil this film. I'm going to spoil the fuck out of it. The bad guy has something interesting that I've never really seen in another movie, where the henchmen are kind of not wanting to be his henchmen anymore because they haven't been paid in a while. So the nun decides to fuck all the henchmen at the same time taking their guns, which she sticks up her hoo-ha. When her
Go
brother
on.
when her brother gets there, she starts masturbating. He starts masturbating. All of a sudden, all these guns just come out of her hoo-ha. I think his dick falls off because he says he's cured at the end. And it turns out to be a pretty good shot on video gunfight.
Nice.
It was so stupid. But yeah, it was. So I watched 2 movies that night. Both of them were conquering my collection films, but man, I have to give it up for Severin for having the balls to release this under its real name and not the name it was released under, which was Masked Avenger versus Ultra Villain in the Lair of the Naked Bikini.
Yeah, it doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
But if this was released under Masturbating Gunman, every 13-year-old boy would want to go see it because it pushes the limits, and there are some money shots in there. You can tell they're obviously fake, and
I hope so.
he does sometimes hit his own face when he's shooting.
Oh,
Like
nice.
you just maneuver it the other way so it doesn't hit you. But yeah, this was a fun movie. I'm glad I finally had the the nerve to watch it.
Nice.
My other conquering my collection was a movie called Blue Sunshine. So I bought this originally when Synapse released the DVD. Never opened it. Then I got the film Centrix released, which is was supposed to be the clean arm of Distribix, fully loaded Blu-ray, and I watched the movie. So Blue Sunshine is a 1977 sci-fi drug film, and I use the word sci-fi very loosely. It is about we open in this party where this guy comes in and starts singing Frank Sinatra. Somebody actually rips his hair off and he's bald, and then he goes crazy and starts wanting to kill everybody. This turns out to be back in college 10 years previous, a whole bunch of people took this acid called Blue Sunshine, which really fucked them up years later, where they went bald and became homicidal killers. What's interesting about it is the guy who played Major Don West on the original Lost in Space is a Trump-like politician who does say, "Make America great again," even though he's running for local Congress, state. But
Yeah.
it's just this weird film, highly enjoyable. I will say, Film Centrics put so much stuff in the case that my case is broken, and every time, not every time, the first time I took it out, the disc was dusty as hell. So I didn't like that. I had to spend a half hour cleaning it. But
You said film centris?
Centrix,
Oh,
it's
okay.
out of print.
Oh,
Synapse is going to be released on 4K one of these days,
cool.
but it won't be as loaded as this one is or was.
Sounds
Film
pretty interesting.
Film Centrix was part of the porn company Distribix. So who released all the Command Cinema stuff like Spitfire, the other one.
I think I've got that coming.
Yeah, you do.
I forget which company it was, but they found a couple.
It was Diabolic.
Yeah, okay.
But no, yeah, Blue Sunshine. It was fantastic. It was a little slow, but by the end, it really picked up and it got pretty intense. there was tension throughout it because somebody was falsely accused for murder, and he was the one trying to investigate the Blue Sunshine. So
Nice.
you can watch it on Shudder, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I will. Feel like I've got something in common with that main guy.
What?
Loses his hair and he just wants to go on a murdering rampage because of it.
Yeah, but that was a side effect of the acid.
Same.
Yeah, you should shave yours because you want to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
God, I wish.
All right, let's talk about our pick of the week, our movie du jour, Bio Zombie. I can't remember who directed it because I can't pronounce the name.
Let me bring it up here.
Actually, I will read the synopsis of it.
It is Wilson Yip.
Oh, I can pronounce that one. All right. I will read the synopsis because I can read. All right. Bio Zombie. Invincible and B are two wannabe gangsters who spend their days hanging around the mall selling bootleg DVDs. When they aren't committing petty crimes and trying to pick up girls, the two hoodlums involves the two hoodlums run errands for their low-level triad boss. When one of these errands involved them picking up the boss's car from the mechanic, things take a turn for the two delinquents when they accidentally hit a man walking in the middle of the road. Trying to hide their crime, Invincible V bring the man's body to the mall in order to figure out their next move. Little do they know the man has been infected with an experimental bioweapon that has turned him into a zombie. When the man's corpse doesn't stay put, it's only a matter of time before the victims start piling up, and the mall soon becomes overrun by a zombie horde trapping a group of shoppers inside. Will Invincible and B step up to become heroes and save the day, or will their slacker nature get the best of them? Dooming all inside. Directed by one of Hong Kong's most prominent action directors, Wilson Yip, IP Man, SPL, Killzone. Bio Zombie is a neon-filled zombie comedy bursting at the guts with 90s flair, featuring a cast of likable characters led by Jordan Chan and Sam Lee as Invincible B, as well as a strong supporting cast featuring Emotion Chung, the Demon's Baby, Angela Tong, Honor of the Gods, and Suki Moitan, Fist of Legend. Vinegar Syndrome is proud to present this gory slice of 90s nostalgia on Blu-ray for the first time, restored from Studio Supplied Masters. I wouldn't say it was nostalgia because I had never been to a mall in Hong Kong before.
I have, and that is what they look like. Just
So,
fake stuff everywhere.
well, let's start off the beginning. This movie had a very unique opening credit sequence where they are bootlegging a movie to sell in their store.
Yep.
And I remember when I lived in New York, I would buy bootleg VHS off the street corner of movies that were just released, and they always looked like shit.
Yeah.
But I found that enduring, but not entirely relatable because we don't have malls here that would have sold bootlegs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I used to buy a couple of them, and I cannot think of where it was from. It was a store, but it wasn't a mall. And I can't think of what it was. We had somewhere here in my hometown that was just doing that.
Was it a record store? Because I knew record stores that sold bootlegs all the time.
Um, no, they also had like kind of just like old crappy toys, and I don't know what to call that kind of store. Some just like retro nostalgia store kind of, but they would sell bootleg DVDs.
Yeah. Oh, I went my record stores that I hung out at sold bootleg VHS. DVDs weren't around then. I mean, but that's how I got the original series of Friday on VHS tape, which I wish I still had,
Hmm.
and the Beatles cartoons. But so I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Then we meet. Then we see them leave the movie, or they're kicked out. Then we follow them as they meet all the other main characters around the mall, including the nerdy kid.
Yeah. What was that guy's name? I can't remember what his name was. Maybe they didn't say it.
They probably did. I watched this quite a while ago.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to bring up though, is that I liked that, it was everyone just had a nickname throughout the entire place, and it could have just been used for like maybe that's what Hong Kong movies did like this back in the day, but it did kind of make me think of it as more of like, I worked in restaurants my whole life and everyone just kind of called each other random stuff all the time instead of their actual name, so it kind of made it feel like their own little community inside of the mall kind of.
Well, it seems like when they interact with other characters, nobody else likes them.
Yeah.
These are the Jay and Silent Bob, and neither one of them was silent or
Hmm.
smart. I mean, these guys were idiots. Um, so they're attracted to these two girls. I can't remember the main girl's name, but she had the shorter hair.
For some reason her name was Rolls.
Okay, because she did like sushi. She liked sushi,
Oh yeah, maybe that's what it was.
and
Yeah.
the guy at the sushi restaurant was in love with her as well,
Hmm.
which I thought was ridiculous. And how that played through the rest of the movie, I'm like, all right, this makes no sense. This is a little bit of Warm Bodies before Warm Bodies, but
Yep.
all right, I don't mind this. Then we hear them interact with their boss, who we never see, and he wants them to go pick up their car at this shady garage where they almost get their ass kicked.
Hmm.
While this is going on, we meet some nefarious people in a warehouse who have a zombie. And for some reason, they put the formula that could create more zombies into a soda. Because you know what? Nothing could go wrong with that. So the zombie killed some of the other people. One guy got out with his life, and then he gets hit by the two.
Hmm.
And they give him the drink. So basically, everything that happens in this movie is their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way you explained that kind of made it make a little more sense to me, because at first I was thinking like, is their plan to just, why did they just put it in one drink? Is their plan to just turn like a person into a zombie? But like the way you said it, maybe that's just the way that they're using to like transport it to get later go make more or something.
Yeah. Well, that they weren't really clear, and I don't remember. Did the zombie that killed the people in the original one part died? Did he die?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because all right. So they get back to the mall, the zombie gets out, and then chaos pretty much ensues. Um what I like best about this film is as the day went along and as the audience, we know what's coming and how these characters are continuing to go through their day of their typical day.
Hmm.
Um, so compared to like other zombie films like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead, pretty much Return of the Living Dead, we're in the midst of the zombie infestation when these happen,
Hmm.
but we're never there as it's we know it's brewing. We know bad shit is going to happen to these characters, and they aren't aware because they are all caught up in their own lives, which makes us all caught up with what's going on in this really this I'm gonna guess large mall that
Mm-hmm.
is also pretty much, it feels really claustrophobic.
Yep.
Oh, I'm forgetting about the two other workers there, the husband and wife, the abusive husband and the wife that may or may not be having an affair with one of the idiots. And I,
Yeah, they made every single line that guy said like just pretty much calling his wife a piece of shit.
well, he was basically the same asshole that was from Night of the Living Dead that was stuck in the basement with them.
Yeah.
He was that person. But again, by the time we get to the zombie infestation and we see people that we've met along the way that have been turned, that's where it gets frightening. This movie is not scary, but there is such an amount of tension because they made us like all of these characters. And
Mm-hmm.
again, they are not the best people in the world.
Yeah, that I think that's something that the movie does really well is everyone it gives you is, you know, a person you should hate, but along the way you're like really rooting for them and
No,
and yeah, some of
there is one
yep,
you like, the main girl's friend.
yeah, she's pretty
She
normal.
she is not dislikable, and like her friend just uses people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they rob her. The two in one of the dumbest yet most hilarious robbery sequences in film history. Now, in Hong Kong comedy zombie film history, but it's a struggle when you start seeing these characters die because we've had so much time to get to know them and we're rooting for them, even though if we follow the zombie script, only one or two of them are going to make it.
Right.
And what this film also does well is they make us believe that this infestation is only isolated to the mall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everyone is cut off from the real world, which I don't understand because people did have cell phones and they should have been working.
Yeah, that was when was this? This was like 95 or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I guess it could be a little of them.
Actually, rephrase it, not everyone had cell phones back then like today.
Yeah, they had a couple of them in the little store, but um yeah, that was another aspect that I really liked was which I think the original like um what was the original called? Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Pretty much contained to like that house. I really liked how this one was kind of contained to this, not even the entire mall, just kind of that one corridor and security office of the mall. Kind of makes it feel a little more like I don't know, like you said, claustrophobic a little and
But again, unlike Night of the Living Dead, we meet all the characters in the middle of it.
mm-hmm.
This one, we had so much time of characterization, and it did something rare. It made us like the unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt so bad for the sushi chef when he was bit, but
that was like my favorite character of the movie.
he became such an important part. For some reason, he still had his memories of how much he loved rolls,
Yeah.
and he did a very heroic act that also kind of led to the death of both the main character.
uh-huh.
But I don't want to get to that yet. One of my favorite sequences when they were all dressing up video game style,
Yeah.
and the wife the wife mentioned something about one of her favorite actors, and it was um the guy who played Invincible,
Yeah.
Jordan Chan. She used his
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, I really like that too. I don't know if you have played it, but they had a little clip in the beginning of the House of the Dead arcade game, which was it was like an arcade game where you had to like use the gun to shoot zombies.
Okay,
You like
I
go into
remember
this
that.
old house. But yeah, they had, like played a little clip of it in the beginning of them seeing it in an arcade, and there was a part when I think it was the first zombie showed up, and um the one guy zombie or whatever his name was, that was his name, right? Zombie. Oh, Crazy Bee, it says on this. Um, he's like he's watching someone struggle with it, and it like it cuts to a little clip from the game of the zombie getting shot in the head, and he's like, shoot it in the head. And that whole like scene where they were suiting up was just from that arcade game too. I thought it
That's
was pretty
cool.
funny.
That's cool. I did not know that, but no, that was, it was a fun movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I also felt like Rolls and Jordan Chan's character were also kind of falling in love during this whole time.
Yeah, same, which was really confusing to me.
Well, he was the bad boy, she was the bad girl.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a part where they first went into the bathroom together. They're both drunk, and she's still kind of like turning him down. And then she comes out and says, like, you robbed me, didn't you? And he's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden she's like super into him.
Yeah, he's a bad boy. He's a bad boy. He's the kind of guy all girls want. Scummy, because everyone knows
super
really scummy guys know how to fuck.
super tight purple shirt.
But again, the second half of the movie is a very predictable zombie film. Um, I say it's the second best zombie film that take place in a mall.
Mm-hmm.
But what really gets me is the ending, and again the nihilistic ending, where he goes into the gas station and he hears all the news reports, and he then sees her drinking from the contaminated soda,
Mm-hmm.
and then he goes into the car and drinks it, and yeah, it becomes, it's the Romeo and Juliet ending where they both kill themselves, one unknowingly and one knowingly, to become part of the problem. And that's what I really liked about it. I liked the nihilistic ending. I actually like the alternate ending better, where she bites him.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I couldn't tell which one I liked better. I don't know. I think I like the original better just because
sappy, you're a
it's
sappy
like
guy.
it's like kind of sappy, but at the same time, like super hopeless. Like he knows, well, he sees on the TV that, this is like an outbreak that's everywhere, not just happened to them. And then the last person that he made it out with is about to turn into a zombie. So he just goes with it too.
Yeah, he's a follower, not a leader.
Yeah.
But again, what I think works so well in this movie is that the director makes us forget the outside world is there,
Mm-hmm.
and he does a great job of making us think this is only happening in this mall.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't remember if the other zombie was killed, and now I'm even thinking about the ones that he bit would eventually turn as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that wasn't important to the rest of the story. The story was the mall and how those characters were going to react to
Yeah.
it. And that is what, a good director does, where you don't think about anything else. Like in other zombie films, we know what's going on out there because we've already seen it.
Yeah.
In this one, we didn't. We thought the main characters, who again stupidly gave the guy the contaminated soda and brought him to the mall, created their own problem that could have been, it could have been like finished the second they got out there, reported to the police, and they burned that place to the ground.
Yeah.
And the ending is what makes this movie scary.
Yeah, I think it, along with the ending, I think it, I had a note that I said they do a really effective job of telling a zombie story with essentially like, when I wrote the note, it was essentially like five zombies. Um, as we go through the movie, appear, more people appear in the mall, even though it was like shut down. But
But that was the other thing. It never felt like this mall was busy.
yeah, well,
Because
they had shut it down at the beginning. They like locked the doors and stuff.
why?
Um, I think it was just closing. I think it was just closing time.
Then why was everyone still there?
That's what I was saying. I think that they,
And no, it couldn't have been closing time because there were still the people in the restaurant were there.
yeah, that's true. I know there was, maybe it was after that, but I know there was a point where they were closing the place down. Maybe it was when the cops got called for the robbery. Maybe
I might have to go
when the
rewatch it.
when the
I don't
phone got
remember.
stolen. Something happened, but yeah, they like when they were in the security office, they were like, yeah, there's only like those people left in the mall that were in the restaurant. They said everyone else was out. So I thought it was funny when, by the end, there's like 20 zombies in this place.
Well, it could have happened because remember the first zombie was in the parking garage, so they could have he could have
Mm-hmm.
gotten them there. So
Yeah.
that's nothing. But what also got me was I always thought Shaun of the Dead was the first real zombie spoof. This one predated it by years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching I was watching or reading somebody thought this movie could have inspired it because it did play on British TV in the late 90s.
I can see that.
But this,
One thing that I did notice was the part at the beginning where the nerdy guy is returning his DVD because he said he couldn't see anyone. He mentions Stephen Chow. He's like, you can't even see Stephen Chow, and they're like, how did you know Stephen Chow's there if you couldn't see him? But the whole time I was watching this, I was like, man, this really feels like a Stephen Chow movie. It's like two loser guys end up like turning things around and being the heroes.
there were no heroes in this movie because everybody failed. There were people who had heroic moments.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess they went through the character arc where Chan became a hero at the end because he
Mm-hmm.
survived. But what's interesting is I've been reading comments on Instagram, not Instagram, on some of the groups is, oh, this movie's a chore to get through.
Mm-hmm.
How is it a chore to get through? This film is brilliant. And it's fun and it's rewatchable.
Yeah. I saw other people saying too that like they're like, oh, Vinegar Syndrome knew this one was a piece of crap. That's why they released that other slipcover with it to try and make it seem better. I was like, I think this was one of the more like, this one and Frostbiter, I feel like have been super entertaining.
I think a lot of the things they've been releasing have been super entertaining. But let's hold that thought. How many? I have an issue with the title, Bio Zombie. That implies one.
Yeah.
It should be Bio Zombies. But semantics aside, how many Bio Zombies would you give this movie?
um, I am gonna go. I think I'm gonna do 3.5. It was I thought super entertaining the whole way through. It was kind of like, one half of the movie was building and the second half was just, kind of bonkers, which I thought was a good pace for it to go. Yeah, super it for me it was nostalgic not having to do anything with Hong Kong, but just those like 90s bright colors I really like. Um yeah, I thought it was a really good one. 3.5.
I will give it 4 Bio Zombies.
Nice.
Again, this was such a fun movie. It was the one I was least looking forward to from this month,
Hmm.
from that month's releases, and it's one of my favorite films that I've seen this year.
Yeah, agreed.
So I'm upset there was no English dub, but there never was one, at least legally. So it was okay reading subtitles, but
Yeah,
I had so much fun with this one.
same.
All right, so let's get to the why do you think people were not liking this one?
Um, I don't know. It could be, I know there's people who just don't like reading subtitles. Maybe they were upset there was no dub. Um, it could be kind of like how I said, where it's the first half is kind of like, you know, more of a storytelling kind of building building half where you're kind of getting to know these characters, and so you can see the change that happens through them in the throughout the second half. But I really I don't get it. I thought it was really fun the whole way through.
Yeah, it was. It was. Um, but and again, I think this goes back to one of the biggest issues I've been having problems with Vinegar Syndrome was they stopped releasing the uh the films that have that labels normally wouldn't release.
Mm.
And I'm gonna go through their this year so far. Sorry. So this year we got Frostbiter, which was friggin' great.
Hmm.
Um, the Beast in Space. We got Flesh and Fantasy, which I thought was a fantastic film. I have not watched The Infernal Rapist yet. Um, Made in Hong Kong's Goodbye 20th Century, which I'll admit I have not. I tried watching it. I just stopped caring. And then, like this year alone, we've gotten more. We've got a ton of Peakorama releases this year.
Yeah, there
Um,
have been a lot of those.
the Devonsville Terror, which I think was great. The Double Exposure of Holly, Babe, Dog Tags. That one was kind of bad. Primal Rage, um, Freeway 2, and the Carlos and Nick Tabota set. I've only watched one film on there. What's it called? Poison for the Fairies.
Hmm.
One of the best films I've seen this year. So I think Vinegar Syndrome is doing a good job of balancing where they were to releasing stuff people want, like Showgirls.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think the VSU sub label is a good place for those movies to go.
Yeah, and I think the movies for next month look great. Vacation of Terror 1 and 2. I can't wait to watch. Curse of the Blue Lights, Five Women for the Killer, The Cat Creeps, and Climax and Wet Dreams. I think it should be the other way around: Wet Dreams and then Climax. Put it in order.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
But no, I mean, I still don't get what people want with this label. Like there was a post that went out last week where once again someone was bitching about the Peakorama films. Different person, or it might
Yeah.
be the same person under a different name.
Yeah.
And that post was taken down. That guy was booted from the group.
Mm.
But no, it's just I think they're these days they're putting out something for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is the first year I've done the full subscription, and I've been really happy with it.
Well, also, this is the first year that your second half has already been paid for,
Hmm.
and you get that sweet 50% off partner labels and VSUs, VSAs. I
Yeah.
do have to ask you, did you order all the partner labels this month?
Um, Not all. Um, there's two that I didn't get yet, just because they had so many slips. The Hourglass Sanatorium I did not get,
Okay.
or Bullets Over Summer.
The only ones I got were Justice Ninja Style
That one looks sweet.
and Vinyl Nation.
Okay.
I really wish they would just offer um the book the slip covers for Zodiac Killer and Lady, Lady, the Lady Street Fighter.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got both of those, and I afterwards I was kind of like, I think I have these already actually. So is that's all they did? They just added a slipcover to it,
There
and
was a version of the Zodiac Killer that came with a candle and a prayer card.
yeah,
I would have probably bought that if I saw that one at time.
yeah, I didn't see that either.
But yeah.
I saw a lot of people really excited about Krat from Darkstar. Looks kind of insane a little bit.
Yeah, I don't care.
Um, and then this other one from Factory 25, Full Moon Trilogy, sold out like super fast.
It took a couple days. It's mumblecore. That's why I didn't buy it.
What is it? Mumblecore?
It's mumblecore. It's a Joe Swanberg film. I've seen them before. They're okay, but I would never rewatch it,
Mm.
which is why I didn't buy it because I didn't need to rewatch it. But so I want to talk about next week's show because I am really excited about that one.
Hmm.
In honor of the potential remerge, the resurrection of Blockbuster Video and Arrow's video store set, we are going to take a break from regular schedule reviews and we are going to be employees of the Grindhouse Chic video store, which covers every movie. And we are going to do our employee picks there. We're going to have cover several sections and not all horror. We're going to probably delve into mainstream and classics as well. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I really like when we do lists.
Yep. Yep. But until next week, hopefully Brian again isn't stuck in a hole that was too small for him and he's yelling for help.
We might have to go save them.
No, we can't. We can't. Again, my clause in my new contract of Grindhouse Chic starring Robert Schneider states that I cannot be involved in any criminal activity.
Hey, there's nothing criminal about saving a guy, you know?
Saving a guy who's committing the greatest heist ever.
Say you were saving him in self-defense.
Or we turn him in and get a reward.
Ooh.
But we will be back next week with an episode I am really looking forward to.
Yep.
Until then, I am Robert Schneider and Matt Armstrong, my sidekick.
That's me.
All right. See you kids later.
See you guys.